We about to get it in. Barbecue, charcoal, biscuits, and ice. I got my lawn chairs ready.
And welcome to the Inside Tailgating Spotlight. I have Jonathan here from Tailgate Nation. And Tailgate Nation is an app that I really like because basically it helps you find a party, or if you want to host a tailgate party, it gets it done for you. So Jonathan, thanks for coming on.
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking to you about Tailgate Nation, about some cool stuff for the fall, and yeah, excited to be here.
So, where did the idea for Tailgate Nation come from? How did you, conceptually design it? Just give me the rundown of how you started this app.
So basically, the long and short of it, a couple years ago, as most tailgaters are familiar, you travel to an away game. In this case, I was up in New York. Big Giants fan, as we've talked about before, and I was going to a Giants-Bears game with my brother-in-law, my wife, my sister-in-law. We didn't have a car, we didn't have a grill, we didn't have cooler, all that stuff, but I wanted to tailgate before the game. So I was just kind of thinking out loud, it'd be great if I could join up with someone who's already going to have a tailgate there, paying them $20-$30. They do all the preparation, I show up, we drink, we have a couple beers and burgers. I leave, I don't have to break anything down, and it's good to go. And I kind of started playing around with that idea in my head, and I said, you know what, this would be great as an app, because I don't even think the idea exists, but as an app, if someone could just pop onto their phone on a Sunday and say, I want to go to a Giants, I want to go to a tailgate at the event I'm going to, here it is. So I started playing around with the idea. First, I wanted to see if it was available. No one was doing anything like it. And then I said, okay, I'm not an app developer, so now how do I go about doing this whole thing? So I started drawing up some models and some logos and started talking to some people that were involved in the technology field with app development. And it took, as you may or may not know, it takes a long time to develop an app, especially one that you feel proud of. So it's kind of been an ongoing process ever since then. We've been around full-time really for almost 2 years now, but really for, I would say, about the past year. We've been out there on both iOS and Android. You can download us all 50 states, all over the world if you want. And we do have hosts at many different stadiums as well. And we're looking to build on that this year at stadiums, both college football, NFL, concerts, cornhole coming in the near future, and other events in the such. So that's how we started. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great idea because I, would go to different cities. I'm a Browns fan. Thank you for Odell, by the way. We appreciate that here. We appreciate that here in Cleveland. So, when I would go see a game, say, in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or something like that, I didn't really bring anything to tailgate. Maybe you'd bring a cooler or something like that. But if you're visiting another city and your team's playing, I mean, this app is perfect. If you got to host a tailgate lot somewhere, say like I said, in Pittsburgh, in Cincinnati, Buffalo, wherever it happens to be, I can just log on there, onto the app, and basically commit to going to the party or RSVP. And I mean, it's a really cool idea.
Thanks. Yeah, and actually, so last year, I'm based here in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. So we had a presence at every Dolphins home game. So all 8 home games, we had a big party. It was free food, drinks. We had DJs, we had bartenders, we had cornhole, we had other games. And all we asked people that showed up, just download our app, show us that you downloaded the app. We talked about it a little bit, and I said everything else from there is free. We were the closest lot right next to the stadium. And what we found was that same thing you were talking about. People were coming, visiting teams were coming in, and in most cases they had nothing. At best case, they had a plastic bag with a couple beers in there. Yeah. And they were looking around with this like dazed look, like kind of, hey, what is Tailgate Nation? And we said, come on in, let me explain the party. The second they learned about it, like, I wish I knew about this earlier. I would have been here. The second you guys opened your tailgate, we could have been partying with you all the time. I said, well, the good news is we're not going anywhere. So next time you come to one of our games, but more importantly, once you go back to wherever you're visiting from, go ahead and set up an event of your own or meet up with people that are doing it right through the app.
Yeah, and it's really easy to use. And like we were just talking there about how if I'm visiting a city or visiting wherever and I want to find a party, you host them as well. So if you're a really generous person and you want to just charge people a little fee to come hang out at your tailgate, and look, I love tailgating. It's what I do. But I'm not going to lie to you, setting up sucks. It does. Yeah. I mean, it's like the worst part of it is when you got a couple buddies in your trunk or your truck bed or your SUV's full of gear and you get it all ready. And then, the worst part is when it's about 45 minutes before kickoff. And then next thing you know, all right, we got to get rid of. We can't party this last 45 minutes.
Right.
We got to tear down and clean everything up and make sure everything's where it should be and the grill's off and blah blah blah. So then, if you got somebody who doesn't mind doing that and they want to make some friends or they want to have a huge party, you can host a party and just have people come to your party. And if I'm just attending your party, well, I don't have to do any of that. So that's
Absolutely.
nice too.
And that's kind of what I found is that, again, like I've set up many tailgates. I enjoy it, but not as many people love the fact of setting it up and breaking it down. However, there are some people that do, and they don't mind sharing their tailgate. And there's a lot more people out there that love attending tailgates, and they just don't know. Either they don't know or they don't want to do all that work. So it's kind of that perfect marriage of the two. It's almost like in our sharing economy, thanks to Uber, Airbnb, and Lyft, and everyone else out there. I've always thought of us as kind of like that. We're like the Airbnb of tailgating, where people are going to do it anyway. And there's always going to be extra beer. There's always going to be extra food. Why not open your doors? Make some new friends. If you want to make a couple bucks, you make a couple bucks, and it's just a perfect fit.
Yeah, and my big thing when I go to a tailgate is I never want to run out of anything. So my philosophy
Very
is,
good point.
Yeah, especially with beer, especially food to a degree. But when if I got, let's say 8 of us are tailgating, well, we'll buy enough beer for 15 people, because
there you go.
You never know what kind of party you're going to end up having.
Yeah,
so if you're like me like that, and you don't want to go home with, say, 2 extra cases of beer that are just going to sit there, this is a way to have people over, make new friends, invite them to your tailgate, and then you don't have to take all that beer home, and basically it's a lost cause for you.
Right. That's exactly how I look at it. And for the people showing up, like, if you decide to charge them a couple bucks, now you're just offsetting your next tailgate. And for them, it's a win-win situation because they're paying $10 a beer inside the stadium and they don't know anyone. And this is, to me, and as you probably will agree with, going to a tailgate is the best part of any sporting event or any live event. Even a good concert. If you have a great tailgate before that concert, it just makes the whole thing. But a sporting event especially, because if you're a big Browns fan and you go and your team loses every game for the season, you already won in the parking lot. That's the beautiful part of it.
I am undefeated in the parking lot, just so you know.
Undefeated in the parking lot.
Yes.
So you can't complain about the tailgate. That's the one thing you can control, and that's why, most importantly about this whole thing, I love making new friends, meeting people like you, and sharing the experience, sharing the story, and it's been a great experience so far.
So you're going to actually get to the point where you can do custom events. So if, like we mentioned, the ACL, the American Cornhole League, you could set up there. Or if there's something off the beaten path, maybe a sport or whatever it is, or you can start customizing tailgates through the app. So people, if they're attending the event as well, and they're not thinking it's going to be a tailgate party, well, you can throw one.
Absolutely. And I mean, tailgates typically, people think football, college, NFL. That is the pinnacle still of tailgating. But there's so many other things. To me, it's just an informal party where people can meet up. Obviously, typically in the back of a truck or a car, whatever it may be. But you're right. There's all these new sporting events coming out, and a lot now are being featured even on ESPN. But people just want to have a good time, drink some beers. Even like I was joking around with this idea. I don't have kids personally, but people that go to these, soccer tournaments on the weekend and Little League baseball tournaments on the weekend, well, the parents are there all day. They got a tent, they got the chairs, they have drinks. I'm assuming they have some beers there. That's a tailgate.
Yes.
So why not share that with other people that want to come in? Maybe there's people that just want to hang out and they just want to check out an event, and there it is. And cornhole, I mean, this has been phenomenal in 2019 with these 4 major events on ESPN. It was actually kind of funny because we sponsor a couple players in the ACL. Jay Corley and Tyler are 2 of them. And I was just finishing up snorkeling on Sunday, walked into a bar for lunch. What was on TV? ESPN. And I remember they were going to be on. ESPN was on. See the guys, see our logo, and I'm like, there you go.
How about that?
Anyone that does it, like, what's cornhole? I'll be like, just watch ESPN. It's on TV. You'll learn a lot. You'll see some amazing shots. And it's cool, like when things like that become more mainstream, from a backyard game and a tailgate game, and now people can see it. And it'll always be a big integral part of a tailgate, but now it's legitimized, and it's great. And I mean, at all those ACL events, I was lucky enough to attend the one in Fort Lauderdale. It was pretty much the same thing from opening to close. People were drinking beers, playing cornhole. That's a tailgate.
Yes, so it is.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
So before we wrap this up, give us all the info where you can find the app, how you can download it, what your website is, and if there's anything else you want to add, maybe things you're going to add to the app in the future. So give us a rundown, man.
So we're on, like I said, both iOS and Android. It's just Tailgate Nation. Just type that in. You'll see a little barbecue flame logo and the TN. Our website is tailgate-nation.com. And on there, you'll actually see all of our upcoming events, the ones that we're actually hosting. By the way, I mentioned those. If you're in any one of those areas, free to attend. Just show that you downloaded the app. Features coming out. So this next couple of days, I would say in the next week, you'll start seeing some social media campaigns. But basically, we perfected the payment so that hosts can make money, users can pay seamlessly through the app, no third-party site going on there. In addition, custom events will be coming out, I would say, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But another feature that's on there already that I'm very excited about is the waitlist feature. So if you were going to a game, and as you know, as any startup will tell you, yeah, you want to be in all 50 states at the same time at every game, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's just not a hosted event that someone wants to go to. Well, you go to that event, it says there's no tailgates listed, you put yourself on that wait list. Once one other person pops on there, it'll say, hey, Ryan's now interested in tailgating at this Browns game. As that starts to grow, if you want to meet up together, form your own tailgate, now you already have a built-in fan base of people ready to tailgate, so you don't have to worry about who's going to do this and that. We found the tailgate for you. So that's something that I'm really excited to launch, real time, and we're going to be testing it out at a couple. Preseason football isn't the world's best, but we're going to be testing it out at a couple of these in the next few weeks, and then we're going to be at a lot of major college football games, and of course a lot of major NFL games starting in about 3 weeks, which I'm really excited about. Not to mention, there's going to be some soccer games around the country that are growing in popularity with tailgating, so we're going to be testing out there as well. And on the website and the app, you'll see all of my contact and our phone numbers, our emails. If there's anything that you think or our fans out there, new users, have any questions about, please feel free, while we're in this startup stage, to contact me directly, because I'd love to know, user support, what works for you, what doesn't. The best part of this, I want to make it as easy as possible to find and host a tailgate. So if there's anything that we can do better to help you do that, please let me know.
All right, well, thanks, Jonathan. I love hearing about the app. We're going to start using it here. I think I am, especially during Brown season. So,
all right.
Thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Ryan.